engagement. Okay. So there will be two recordings on this. Anik has sent good morning to all. He's thinking he's still in office. Okay. So I will explain first. I mean, there is nothing to explain, but I'll just share so that those who are not part of Jesus generation will understand it. And then we will do proper engagement. So maybe a 10-15 minutes of sharing and then.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's discuss about worship in spirit and truth. Okay. And practice is what Mike Parson taught us, or rather many people have tell us, anything you have to practice. I have seen many in the new wine, they have a knowledge, okay, but there is no real life and real tangible relationship with God because they don't practice it. So God is not there in heaven, or neither is sent us on the earth to give knowledge, but to walk on the earth with relationship. So key is relationship, and relationship will happen when you go and spend time with God, and that required a practice. That's a key difference between spiritual people and religious people. Religious people just engage in knowledge in their mind, and they want to be a greater in among people. But the spiritual people focus on relationship, being hidden from all. Okay, so you wisely choose the direction that you want. So, the worship, as we said, so Genesis 22, 4 to 5 is the first place the worship is mentioned in the Old Testament. And so Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place far off. Verse 5 says, and Abraham said to his young man, you stay here with donkey, I and lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. So worship word is, the three letters, it is Shin, Kof, and He. Okay, Shaka. Okay, we can discuss on this scripture long to understand worship, but as I am leaving it to you, get your own revelations. So these are the three letters. You got Shin, Kof, and He. So Shin is a numerical number is 300 and Kof is 100, He is 5. If you add, it will become 405. And if you add together, it will become 9. So the purpose of the worship is to restore us back to our original state. So worship is always to change us, not to, the many people have many opinions. They worship for certain things, but we should worship or spend time with God to change us so that we will be, we'll completely restore to our original design, just like Jesus. So, so, so while, this most basic level of Saka describes a physical act of bowing down before a king, a superior, or a presence of a god, it's a posture of humility, submission, and respect. However, when it is used in the context of God, it's not just about the outward act of bowing down, but the inward posture of the heart in total surrender to His will. Why surrender to His will? Because we don't understand everything. There are certain things we don't understand, but by knowing that He is and He loves us, we surrender ourselves. Surrender and yielding to opinions of the people, and yielding to what God is saying is very essential. So it is to recognize His majesty, authority, and sovereignty, acknowledge our complete dependence on Him. So this is the key of worship, okay? So here, I'm sorry. Okay, so here, John 4, we already discussed, but once again, we are going to see, 4:20 to 24. Our father worshipped, the woman, Samaritan woman is saying to Jesus, our father worshipped on this mountain, and you say that in Jerusalem is the place where it is necessary to worship. Okay, so here the context of worship is a place, not how you're supposed to do it. Verse 21, Yeshua said to her, you must believe me, ma'am, that a time is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. Okay, you worship whom you have not known. We are worshiping whom we do know, because the salvation by the Jewish people. Why the salvation is for the Jewish people? Because one man walked Abraham with God. Okay, that changed the river that is flowing. I mean, that stops flowing in Adam, started flowing from Abraham, and that river we need to catch it to get what God has done for mankind. So, verse 23 says, in fact, an appointed time is coming and is now when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such as those who worship Him. So, Father seeking this kind of worship, and the worldly system make worship as songs. Okay, yeah, songs can be a part of worship when you are engaging with God. Okay, but what we see in worship, the songs and the music, that is not the worship actually. That's, you're singing, simple singing. And of course, it has effect because the sound and the frequency, it has effect on our body. Because of that, so many times while worshiping, people see the presence, they felt the presence of God, all that is because of the sound and the frequency. Okay. And even the, angels also come because of that frequency, because, the sound and the frequencies, what it does is we have created a lot of boundaries around us, and these sound and frequencies break those boundaries. So we'll free will become free. The moment we become free, we are free to express ourselves. Then, we will be operating as who we are. So why that happens? Because it's all external, not internal. But the real worship changes you from within. Okay. And those who worship this way, they will change. You see in the worldly system, Christian world, they have not changed in that sense. Okay. They have knowledge, but inside they have not changed. That's because they are not worshiping. Verse 24, God is spirit, and it is necessary for those who worship him to worship in spirit and truth. Okay, so God is not a physical place. He's not in Jerusalem, neither in is Makkah or anywhere on this earth. He's in the spirit realm. So to worship him, you have to engage in the faculty that you have within us, that is spirit, to worship him. Okay, so that's what we discussed in Bangalore. Now, this is a scripture which I wanted to bring you notice with an intention to tell what actually worship does in us. Okay, and let me tell you, in us, our kind of way, people engage. Okay, so when you engage in sense, you're not physically doing anything. You're closing your eyes and you're sitting or sleeping, and you are engaging with God. Now, that is very good, I mean, it's very beneficial. But every time you engage with God, there has to be a matching level of understanding on your physical realm. What I mean by that is, for an example, if you're giving a living sacrifice, giving yourself as a living sacrifice, denying yourself in engagement, but on when you do that, immediately you will face a challenge in your life where you physically giving yourself as a living sacrifice. So while sitting with God, if you agree your mistakes and you agree to humble down, but in physically, when the circumstances come, if you don't, then you have nothing changed. Okay, so permanent change will come when it is followed by physical action. Okay, so we'll see here verse Romans 12, 1 to 2. Therefore, Paul is saying, therefore, I urge you, brothers, through the compassion of God, to present your bodies holy, living offerings, pleasing to God, your spiritual service. So, our spiritual service is to give ourselves as a living sacrifice. Okay. Spiritual service is not preaching. Spiritual service is not listening to music or not listening to preachers. Okay. Not fasting. We have to see people are fasting for years. What you have to do is give yourself as a living sacrifice. That means you're trusting God to do it. Sheep just goes to a priest and the sheep's job is over. So we have to go to God and give ourselves a living sacrifice. That's the spiritual service. Rest what Jesus will do, it's is his responsibility. It's not our responsibility. Verse 2 says, stop being conformed to this age. Okay, so when we worship, what happens is we will not be affected by the onslaught the worldly system is throwing at us. Why? Many times you don't see the difference between Christians and the non-Christians, or a believers and unbeliever. I would not say believer and unbeliever. Christians and non-Christians is only difference in their talking, praise the Lord, or some scriptures in some way. Otherwise, the nature there is no difference, because I've seen many business Christian people. Okay, nothing changed inside. Why? They're not worshiping. So it says, stop being conformed to this age, but you must from inside continually be changed into another form. So this spiritual worship that we are supposed to do, that will change us from a natural carnal man into a spiritual man. And this also, when we do give ourselves as a living sacrifice, it renews our mind also by the renovation of your mind to prove what is good and pleasing and perfect will of God for you. So this is where you change from within. Although we are closing our eyes, we are imagining, living sacrifice we are giving as a living sacrifice in the heavenly tabernacle, but inside there is something within us is changing. So this is your relationship, your responsibility. This is not anybody's responsibility. If you are not changed, you are the reason, no one else. So you have to go continuously change yourself so that your change will be evident to the natural world and to the spiritual world. So when you stand, see, we can fool the natural world with our titles, with our positions, with our, whatever we have. But spiritual, you can't fool them. They can see inside. Okay. So if you want, because this journey that we have taken, it's not just to impress natural, but it's to show them who we are. Because one of the uh, special calling on the earth for all of us is to revealing the manifold wisdom of God to the principalities and powers. That changes everything. Okay. You don't need to cast out demons. When you walk in, the demons will flee. Okay. So you don't need to manifest certain things. Your presence will create an atmosphere where everything opposing God will flee. That's all. Nobody will come and confront. There are ministries where everywhere they're going, they're casting out demons, all that they do. But in our case, it's a different story. When we walk in, the entire jurisdiction will be ours. No one will manifest. Okay, that's the difference. Now, again in the Roman 12:3, if I say, for I say through the grace that has been given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think too highly of yourself beyond which it is necessary to think. So pride is not from God. Okay, anyone, see, many denominations, they think, they are better than others. And maybe pastors sometimes, I was in the pastors conference, kind of discussion. One pastor was saying, when you stand on the pulpit, think all are fools. They don't know anything. And then you speak. See, you will have the confidence. That's what he's sharing. So, those things won't work in the spirit realm. You cannot afford to think that you're better than others. Okay. And that happens when we change from within, because we all, differently placed in the, on the earth, with our education, with our family background, with our finances, with our, place of where we stay and, location, all that. There are many things that factors to make ourselves different than others, or believe that we are different than others. But that needs to be changed when we worship. Not to think too highly of yourself beyond which it is necessary to think, but to put a moderate estimate of yourself in the same manner as God divided each a measure of faith. Verse 4, for just as we have many members in one body, but all the parts do not have the same function. So now, once we change, we see ourselves in different than others in function, not in stature. If you think that we are structurally different, then there is something wrong which needs to be changed. Verse 5. In this way, we, the many, are one body in Messiah, but each one part of another, one another. So when we change from within, we accept others who are indifferent than us. So if we change, one of the reasons evident reason is we have so many denominations, 40,000 plus denominations we have. It's because they have not changed inside. Once they change inside, they will not divide anything. Okay. And then it says, love must be sincere, abhorring evil, clinging to the good, devoted to one another in brotherly love, trying to outdo one another in showing respect. So this has to be genuinely good. I've seen many Christians gossiping. I'll tell you, if you are gossiping, forget about spirit realm. It is not going to work out. Let's say you have a brother and you're speaking to that brother, against that brother, to some brother, is not at all spirituality to me. In fact, what we have to do is we have to defend our brother who is absent. Many times what happens is the worldly system, the people are so different. So it gives us pain, because their actions, the way they, behave with others, that's okay. So instead of gossiping with people, just go to Jesus's gossip. That's the best way to deal with it. If you are hurt, and if you are, you have a pain within you and you think injustice, just go to Jesus and share all this to him. That's the best way to deal with. Otherwise, what happens is, when two brothers agreeing in, gossiping and agreeing on another about others, this two people will make an ark and release demonic, presence in the people who we are talking. Like if you're gossiping about somebody, two brothers or two sisters, what happens is you are making an ark, and that ark will create a damage to other person whom we are, gossiping. So beware, don't do anything like that. 10. Devoted to one another in brotherly love, trying to outdo one another in showing respect. So this has to be inside, not show. Many, churches, and many of us I have seen, we have outward, thing. It has to come inside. If you don't have a peace, don't do it. It's very simple as that. If you don't have a grace to do certain things, don't do it. But if you're doing, it has to be within. Verse 11. In eagerness, not sluggishness, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in affliction, persisting in prayer. So all this happens when we change internal. Sharing what you have in the needs of the saint, pursuing hospitality. You must continually bless those who persecute you. So this is where it comes. Anyone who is persecuting you, or anyone in the body of Christ, in the group, giving you pain, think that they are designed to change you. Okay? Don't think. Okay? So sharing what you have. Okay. You must continually bless those who persecute you, and you must continually bless, and you must stop cursing. We cannot curse on anybody. Understand, one of the reasons the power of God is not working in our life, because we have not yet learned to tame our tongues. If our tongue is loose and God gives power, we will destroy many people. Okay. So if you want to see the power of God in your life, be careful what you speak. Cracking jokes is a different thing, but there is nothing out of your heart should come against any your brother, your sister, in fact, any humankind. Okay. Verse 15. To rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. So this is genuine change is required to do that. Sometimes it's very easy to rejoice with the people who rejoice. Sorry, weep with the people who weep, but it's difficult to rejoice with the people who rejoice. Okay. And that needs to change within us. If that is not changed, we are just religious. Okay. Agreeing with one another. So this agreement needs to come. Many people agree when they are comfortable. Anything that comes against them, they don't agree. Learn to agree. Not being proud, but yielding to lowly menial tasks. Many people not interested to do minimum task. Of course, we are different, but these things has to be really changed. Do not ever become wise in your own estimation. Okay. And by not paying back evil against evil. If somebody has done bad to you, please, if you have in your heart to take revenge, please change that. Go immediately to Father and give yourself as a living sacrifice. Okay. So we cannot pay evil to evil. That is the difference between the serpent seed and the seed of God. Okay. We know Abel and Jesus, the difference. Abel is asking for revenge and Jesus is asking for mercy. That is the change of blood in our life. If you worship, we will all, like Abel, we may say Abel has killed, but we have that spirit within us, that seed of Cain. If you have anything against your brother, your sister, or any human being, that you have a Cain spirit, okay? So that has to be changed, like into a Jesus spirit, or the perfect God's Son. Then you will cry for mercy. That is the only difference, okay? Taking thought for good before all mankind. So we have to have a peace of mind, peace with all of them. If able from yourself, living in peace with all mankind, that's we have to strive for it. If somebody by default thinking against us, we cannot do anything. But we ourselves has to make an effort to make a peace with all of us, all others. Not avenging yourself, beloved, but you must now give place to the wrath of God. So, earlier we discussed the judgment that worldly things and the many people judgment, purpose of the judgment, we think it's a punishment, but purpose of the judgment is to give justice. So if you don't avenge and you give a wrath of God, or you leave it to God's hand, God will change that person. He's not going to kill, he's not going to punish. If somebody has cheated you, you expect that person to be cheated. That's a Cain spirit. But if you think that person should be blessed so that he will change within himself and he'll have an encounter with God and he will not cheat others, is what is the right way. Okay. So we should not, pay evil to evil, and we should allow God to deal with it. When we don't have a grace to love those who persecute us, leave it to God. Let God do it. And these things will only work when we worship. Otherwise, you see many Christians are fighting for properties, fighting for, what do you call, positions, breaking churches and starting their own church. All this is because they have not internally changed. So, like we have seen earlier, all these, like there's a brazen altar, outer court, okay, it's a laver, and then is a showbread and a candlestick, golden altar, and this, veil, and ark, and then a mercy seat, all that. So this is, in the olden system, this is a temple. Okay. So in technical terms, you see, this is the human body. Okay. So when we engage these places in the spirit, what happens is we change within. Although I'm using the image of chakras, but these are all, this is also genuine revelation, which we may, if you ask question, I can show in detail all that. But this what actually changes within you. Once we changes within you, although these seven seals, Jesus has opened it. Okay, Jesus has opened it, but we have to exercise to function it. So the more we worship, we will change within us. Okay, so each thing will deal with a different thing. Okay, this is, this area, or we call it as a, brazen altar. If this opens, okay, if this area opens, okay, what happens is the fear of survival will go. Many people do all that what they do because of the fear of survival, fear of life. So if this area dealt in your life, then you will not fear for the survival, you will not fear for the death. Okay. And this area, okay, so this is a brazen altar. Let's say assume this is a brazen altar, and this is what you call the brazen laver. So brazen laver is completely about lust. Okay. So as we discussed in the beginning, there is a upper water, there is a lower water. Okay, lower water is corrupted because of man, when man fell. And I believe one of the reasons why, when the watcher angels came down, they lusted after the daughters of men because of this water. Okay, so the more we engage in the labor, the lust in us will go. All forms of lust, okay, all forms of lust will go. And this is where comes in holy place, the showbread. And this is the Melchizedek order. Okay, so as Abraham gave bread and wine to uh, as Melchizedek gave bread and wine to Abraham, so God kept a bread and wine ministry of Melchizedek in the holy place for all of us, so that before we take into a journey, something within us needs to change. And this deals with greed. Okay. So once that greed will go, greed for power, may all forms of greeds. So when that goes, you will take a deeper journey, spiritual level. Otherwise, you will be focused on earth. Okay. And then this is a menorah. Okay. Menorah is what in the beginning there was two trees. One tree we have chosen without choosing the first one. And here God is mending that place, and He is making us one with Him. Okay. So this is where is menorah, our heart. And this is again what you call altar of incense. Okay. Altar of incense is like throat. Okay. The words we speak, our intent, that opens the door. That it's not just as your sacrifice, what you give is pleasing to God, but every words you speak, it will be pleasing to God. And let me tell you, many of us are feel very proud when our children speaking certain things when they are small, or even then when they're younger, and they are speaking wisdom, we smile. Similarly, God rejoices when we speak. Okay. So when this functions, the altar of incense is your life on the earth. The word that you speak, God rejoices, and that opens many doors. Okay. And then this is the altar, which is the third chakra, we call it. Sorry, this is uh, what do you call? Uh, Arc. Okay. Why many people cannot see beyond the physical? Because there is no covenant with God. Okay. There is no authority from heaven, and there is no provision, there is no faithfulness of God. They have not tasted God. So ark is all about it, because the ark, three things are there. One is tablet, and Aaron's rod, and the manna. Okay. Tablet is a covenant. Aaron's rod is your authority. It's not Aaron's rod. Whoever enters, they will get their own rod. So your authority. And the manna is the faithfulness of God. That means you have tasted the faithfulness of God. So these things will open your eyes to see beyond. Okay. And then this is the mercy seat, where you have an open door, you go and meet face to face with God. So these things has to internally happen while you are doing, engaging consciously in the spirit realm by thinking all these things, but internal change and yours change will be evident. So then we will kind of, engage with Jesus, and then we will do it. So after that, all these things what I've shared is there. While doing it, we'll engage. Up till this time, all are okay. Any questions you have?
Yes, Sridhar, I have one question that the first one we started in spirit and truth.
Uh,
Actually, that Samaritan woman, she's talking about the location of worship, right?
yeah.
So the response, how does that match with the question?
No, no, I'll tell you why I shared it, because of my opinion. Because many people, they think this worshipping in spirit and truth is actually the way you're supposed to worship, not the place. So why I said that, because many people think if you have to be a part of church to be a worshiper. You have to part of some gang to be worshippers. You can worship God in the spirit. I mean, those who think they're worshiping by going to the church are not actual. They don't understand the real truth. You can worship God wherever you are, because the worship is not in a physical place, it's in the spirit realm.
Okay. So then, what is the truth stands for that?
Spirit, you understood?
Yeah, that is you worshipping in the spirit. I
So
understood that. You
truth,
get into the spirit realm and then be in his presence and worship him.
yeah, truth is that means when you see and hear the spirit realm, that is the truth, no?
Okay.
Because rest everything is opinion of man.
Okay. Okay. And then a second thing that Romans 12, 1 to 2.
Mm.
Yeah, I understood that. How do you practically apply that?
You don't practically apply. You just give yourself as a living sacrifice, rest God will do it. But when you encounter a situation, okay, see, it's very easy to tell Father, I agree with all the accusations that are coming. It's very easy to say, Father, I give my life as a living sacrifice. But in reality, if somebody accuses you, are you keeping quiet? Or are you defending yourself? Or are you attacking? So
Okay.
that's the difference. When you change within, you will not attack. You will not, defend it. Okay. So what I mean to say is why Roman 12 I discussed. I want you all to go and read Roman 12 entirely and ask Father to show you. This is, see, if without changing, if you ask people to do these things, then it is a legalism.
Yeah.
If you don't change, and I'll tell you, submit to one another, humble yourself, don't pay evil for evil. It's a very burden. I mean, it's a difficult task for people. They can't do it. Why people are not able to do that? Because they are not changed. Okay, but if we are changed within, then that will be very easy for us. For me to forgive anybody is a cake, piece of cake for me. It's very easy. Not paying evil to evil is it's like my talent. I don't need to struggle to forgive people. I don't need to struggle to do certain things which worldly system and the many of the church people are struggling, because I changed within. I am making sense.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone has any question before we engage? Yeah, Bailok.
Yeah, Sridhar.
Hmm.
Acha. So
Hmm.
this is a live, huh?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I just got up and I opened this mobile and I saw this and I got in. So I thought this is a recorded message.
No. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Just since you got up, good morning. And
Yeah.
tell me.
No. I have no question. I was just checking whether this is a live thing or this is a.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything? I mean, shall we engage then?
Yes, Sridhar, we can engage.
Yeah.
Okay, so just give me 2 minutes. Okay, you also can go because 1 hour happened. So just go refresh yourself. After 5 minutes, we'll engage back. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure, Sridhar.
Thank you.